DCC-EX and LA StreamDeck. Hi guys, welcome to the second part of my videos about this combination. Here I would like to show you how to install the software, I mean the companion and the DCC-EX module, and how to establish a connection to the DCC-EX station, and of course how to configure some buttons. This is not a tutorial, just a brief overview. So at first, let me start here to show you how you have to install everything. So the first one is you have to set up your DCC-EX system, of course. And the second thing is you have to set up a Wi-Fi shield or Wi-Fi module. Make everything working and connect your Wi-Fi module to your network. And note the IP address of your Wi-Fi module. And then go to the Bitfocus webpage and register there for download. The software is free. Download there the companion software for the PC. You can find there also the companion software for an Raspberry Pi, but I never did it and never tested this. So it's up to you to play a little bit around with that if you like. Then in the next step, install the companion software and start it. And you will see a red pop-up window on your PC. And there's a button where you can launch the graphical user interface. If you press that button, your standard web browser will open. I'm using the Mozilla Firefox. I don't know if there's any limitation to any of the browsers, but I don't think so. Now when you have launched the browser, you will see that window here. And here you see there are some buttons I've predefined. And every change I do here on a button is immediately shown on the physically StreamDecks. But before you come to this page, you have to establish a connection. When you first start your Bitfocus Companion, you will see here an empty field. I have defined here 3 connections. This is with an old Wi-Fi module, and these are with my new Wi-Fi modules. As you can see, they are established. Why there are 2? There are 2 because I have connected 2 StreamDecks to my PC, and both have connection to the DCC-EX command station. So I show you how to establish a connection. At first you have to add a connection. Press here on that Add Connection tab. And then search for the DCC-EX module. Now I found it here. Click on the Add button. And here I can see a new connection. So you can change the name here. And of course, here you have to type in the device IP address of your Wi-Fi module. Since I don't want really to add a new connection, I've had cancel here and will delete it. But here I can show you how I configured these connections. Here's the name or the label, and here's the IP address. And I've given or told them both the same IP address. That means you can add here more connections if you like, and you can add as many StreamDecks as you want. The control port is always the same. Don't touch it. And when these buttons go green, you have really a connection to your DCC-EX Wi-Fi module and your command station. Now we want to do some button configurations. Go to the Buttons tab, and you're on page 1. There are several pages available, not only this one. go here to the Pages tab, click on it, and by default you have here 99 pages. But you can add more. Just press here the plus button. You can rename the pages. So here I've named the page 20 throttle, 21 is loco select, or here DCC-EX commands. I've placed DCC-EX commands on page 5. But let's go here to the first page. I call it home. I'm still here. Okay, now I will define a button. I select an empty field here. And as you see, it's an empty button and you can create a button. So I create a regular button. That's a normal thing here. And now you see a configuration field here. I give the button a name. I call it power. You see it will not fit here on that, even if it is set to auto, maybe a small bug. I set it to 18 and now it fits. And this button now is immediately also available on the physical StreamDeck. I can press that button here. You see, I press the button here, but nothing happens, of course, because I have to add an action to this button. Now I can see here 3 options. There are a lot of internal commands. This means internal commands from the companion. And there are some predefined functions. Since I've added 2 StreamDecks, I have a set of 2 predefined, but they are the same. But it is important to select the right one if you have more than 1 StreamDecks, because the function then is only done if you use from the correct set. But you can add commands from 2 sets, and then you can send these commands from both StreamDecks. I will show you later. So I will add here a function and I select a custom command. You have seen here, and I said done. And now you can select once again if you want to send that command from one StreamDeck or from the other. So I will send that here from my StreamDeck XL. Now I have to define a custom command string, and I will select a very easy one. It's the one command, and the one command send to the DCC-EX station that will set the track power to on. So that's a very easy command. To show you more here, I want to set the command, maybe the background to yellow and the text, of course, to black. Now you've seen I change a little bit design of that button. And if I press now this button, it's immediately available on the physical StreamDeck. I can send it. But I can't disable it because I've only the enable command sent. So what to do? I can set a second step here. I press on this plus button. Now I see 2 steps. Step 1 and step 2. That means when I press the first time that button, the first command is sent, and I press the second time the button, the second command will be set. But I have to add it here. So let's use once again the custom command and done, and send 0 now. You can add here a delay if you like, but it makes no sense with this button, I would say. But now let's have a look. Or let us do another another thing. Let's add one more action. Let us show if I have pressed the button once or twice. I press here, select here Add Press Action, Internal, set background color from the internal set of commands, and done. And I will set the background color to green. And now go to step 2. I will set the background color maybe to red. Now let's see what will happen. I press the power button on my StreamDeck, and you'll see I pressed it once, power command is sent, and I press it twice. The second step command is sent and removes the power from the track. So that was an easy command. Let's go now to the turnouts button here, and you see here no command is sent to the command station. The only thing here is done is when pressing this power button, when pressing this turnout button, we will send to the page number 10 on our StreamDeck. So on my StreamDeck, when I press this button, I can see it. And here we have manually go to the page 10. Now you see here a set of 4 buttons. 2 buttons are connected to turnouts, and here as well. I press on that button and you see in the field here, I send the command turnout, virtual pin number 519 set to 0. So it's thrown. And the opposite command is sent when I press the second button. You see here, turnout 519 closed. Of course, you can also use one button to change it to open, to closed and thrown. I've defined it on this button here. Here you can see step 1, step 2. Step 1 sends the 0 command, and step 2 sends the 1 command. Now let's see here. I press that physical button. So with one button pressure I can change thrown to close and close to thrown. But here please be aware that the DCC-EX command station will not send back the real position to the StreamDeck. So if you have sent the command from an automation script, from a root script, you will not really see here if it is thrown or closed, because the color will not change here. So I would prefer to use 2 buttons here. Then you always know if you press that button it is thrown, or if you press that button the turnout is closed. Now let's go back to page number 1. You see here a button I called throttles. And that is a little bit more complicated. But here you have various possibilities how to use throttles. We go to the throttle page. So let us do first the easy one. If you don't have a StreamDeck with rotary encoders, just with buttons, I've implemented the following option. I press here that button. You see here the configuration of this button. When I press this button, I select here the locomotive with the DCC address number 622. And this locomotive address will be cached. So the StreamDeck remembers the guy has pressed the button to select the 622 locomotive. It's also doing here some more functions. Like here on my locomotive, I send the cap function number 2, it means the signal horn is activated. And after 300 milliseconds, the signal horn is deactivated. So this means activated, 300 milliseconds delay, and deactivated. So these three actions are done immediately, one after the other. The first one is, remember it is selected the cap number 622, start the signal horn, and 300 milliseconds later shut off the signal horn. Now 622 is cached. Now let's see what we can do with this cached locomotive number. We go to these throttle buttons here. So this is the throttle button for forward. And here you see a variable. Since the 622 was cached, this variable now contains the value 622. And if I press that button, the locomotive starts forward with speed 10. And in addition, the function 0 is enabled, which is the light. Forward, the light function is activated. And if I release that button, this locomotive with the cached number 622 will continue with speed number 10. So if I release the button, the locomotive will go on with speed number 10. Now let's see what I've done to the reverse button here. You see again, this is a variable and there's 622 cached. The locomotive will start with speed number 10 in reverse direction. And the bell will start to jingle. Now let's see what will happen when I release the button. In difference to the forward button, I've given here the command set speed to 0. And I've given the command set the function of the bell off. On, off. And since this button is released and speed to 0, the locomotive will stop when I release that button. So what can you do here? You can set a number of buttons here with different speeds and with different behavior. So it's up to your fantasy how many buttons you will define here. So now let's go to totally different usage of the throttles. If you have a StreamDeck with rotary encoders, you can use a different function. I go here first time to the local select button, which leads us to my defined page 21. I go to 21. And here I've predefined two buttons, one for my locomotive with the DCC address 622 and the other with 7015. So let's check here what I did. Here I have a fixed address. The locomotive DCC address here is 622. And here are in addition the signal horn, which is activated after pressing this button for 150 milliseconds and deactivated after 150 milliseconds. That means when I press this button here, I got a short signal horn. So now 622 is in the cache. Now we go back to the page number 20. And here, look at those buttons. On a StreamDeck with rotary encoders, these buttons are rotary encoder buttons. You see here, I've activated rotary actions. And here you see I've used a fixed number, and on this button I've used the variable address. Remember, I've selected a loco with number 622, which is in the cache. And now when I use this rotary knob, it takes the 622 and it decrements the value. This means, let's better have a look here to increment. If I rotate that button, the speed will grow. The value will go from 0 to maximum 128. And if I go back and return the button to the left side, it will decrement. So here you really can use the rotary encoder and the button for speed control. Now let's have a look at these two buttons. Here I've defined it in a much easier way. I've set a fixed address here. I use 622 and the value is decremented and the throttle speed is decremented. And if I turn the button to the right, locomotive 622 is addressed and it will speed up from 0 to 128 as long as I turn the button. And in addition, you will see here the locomotive function light is on. And there's an addition action here I've defined. When I press the button, the direction is toggled. You can change here forward, reverse or toggle. So that should be all for today. Now you have a brief and rough overview what you can do with the StreamDecks, and it's only limited to your fantasy how to define your buttons, how to use them. But finally, please note that the StreamDeck, the companion software and the DXX module are not officially supported parts of the DCC-EX ecosystem. In the worst case scenario, it could be that the StreamDeck will no longer be supported in future if the Companion, the DCC-EX module, or the StreamDeck firmware is no longer available. Its use is blocked, or in particular the DCC-EX module is no longer supported becomes. Also, this is unlikely, I would like to point out, to be on the safe side. That's all for now, folks. Thanks and bye-bye.